Yes, so if it please the court, yesterday there was a projection of the pictures here, which the court is going to see today, and the representatives of the prosecution and Dr. Servatius were present here, and they can identify the picture here today. Mrs. Salzberger, Mr. Hoch, Mr. Aviel, Mr. Melkman, Mr. Ben-Zvi, Mr. Bakon, Mrs. Kagan, and Mr. Chen and Aharon Hoter-Yishai were there to identify the picture. At the end of the projection, the counsel for defense said that although all the persons present identified the picture and the entire picture was thus identified, I understand that the council does not insist on the swearing in of the identification witnesses, but since they are present here, we certainly are ready to have them sworn in. But I will say in advance, before the projection of each paragraph, what it's going to be shown. I have a full protocol signed by Mr. Bar-Or, and we can submit it to the court. The council had been given a copy thereof. What would you like to point out in this respect, Dr. Servatius?
Bezüglich der Zeugen habe ich keine Bemerkung. Der Generalstaatsanwalt wird ja schon erklären, was die Zeugen gesagt haben. Und ich bin auch kurz informiert worden und habe dagegen nichts einzubringen. Ich möchte nur auf einige Punkte das Gericht hinweisen, worauf ich bitte, das Gericht zu achten, weil eventuell darauf nachher mein Einwand beruhen wird. Darf ich das kurz vortragen?
Dr. Servatius has no objection to the submission of the protocol, says the presiding judge. With regard to the films, I have no remarks to make. The Attorney General will explain what the contents is. The contents had been shown to me in brief, and I have no objections here, but there are certain points with regard to which I would like to call the court's attention, on which my reservations are going to be based. Could I present them now? Then the presiding judge says that so far as the presentation of the protocol is concerned, no objection is voiced. I mark this protocol in initials A, you referred to your reservations. What reservations will you have later? I should like to understand this word Einwände more thoroughly.
Herr Präsident, einen möglichen Einspruch, den ich erheben werde. Das Gericht wird es aber nur verstehen, wenn es vorher unterrichtet wird, auf welche Punkte sich das richten wird.
The reservation is with regard to the very essence of the projection, the very nature of projection, or some particulars of it. Translation.
Die Vorführung des Films selbst, sondern gegen einzelne Bilder und gegen die Beschriftung.
Yes, could you tell us in brief? There is a possible objection on my part, which the court will understand only when the film is presented. And to the question of the presiding judge, Mr. Savat's answers that there is no objection to the projection itself, but to certain pictures and to certain captions.
Man sieht zunächst die Tätigkeit des Einsatzkommandos, da habe ich nichts gegen einzuwenden, aber bald kommt ein Bild mit einem brennenden Leichenhaufen. Ich habe das Gefühl, dass das nachträglich gemacht worden ist. Man muss das Bild daraufhin prüfen.
One can see the activities of the operational groups. I have no objection whatsoever to that picture, but immediately afterwards come pictures showing the burning pyre on which corpses are burned. I have the impression that this was actually made later, and therefore the picture is to be closely examined.
Holzwand gezeigt mit Strichmarkierungen über was kann man nicht sehen. Es wird dazu gesagt, es wären die Zahl der Toten, die jeweils von dem Kommando zu melden seien. Ich bitte die Beschriftung auch zu prüfen. Das nächste ist ein Bild.
With regard to the first picture, the claim is that this is actually something that was staged. Is that the idea? Does it mean to say that it's not real?
Nein, es ist ein echtes Bild, aber offenbar nach der Befreiung gemacht, dass man die Verbrennungen fortgesetzt hat, wie man die Toten auch begraben hat.
Then wooden wall is shown. It is rather difficult to see what they mean, but it is said that these are the identification numbers of the people who were killed. Now, to the question of the presiding court, the answer is yes, this is a true picture, but I have the impression that it was taken after the liberation when they continued burning the bodies in order to bury them.
Mit Leichen ohne Köpfe, die Köpfe sind in einer Schüssel getrennt. Es sind echte Leichen und echte Köpfe. Aber ich habe den Eindruck, dass man aus Reportagegründen dieses Bild zusammengestellt hat. Es folgt dann ein Bild mit viereckigen Stücken. Es steht darunter, es wäre Seife, die aus diesen Leichen gemacht worden wäre. Ich bitte auch das zu prüfen wegen der Beschriftung.
Later on, we see a picture representing the bodies without heads having been severed from them, and the heads put in a particular recipient. I understand that these corpses and the heads are true pictures, but I believe that this had been concocted, as it were, for reporting purposes, for the reportage which was made later on. Then we see also some rectangles in which soap is kept, and it is said that this soap had been made from the corpses referred to, and I should like to ask the court to examine the authenticity of the pictures in question.
Von Beseitigung oder Begrabung von Leichen. Und zwar ist es mehr eine Filmreportage, in dem diese Leichen in einer Weise zusammengestellt werden. Sie werden nachher mit Bulldozern, werden sie in Gruben gebracht. Ich habe den Eindruck, dass es dem Filmreporteur weniger auf die Tatsache ankommt, als möglichst wirkungsvoll diese Leichen, die zusammengetragen worden sind, darzustellen. Ich bitte das auch zu prüfen auf dem dokumentarischen Beweis. Weiter habe ich nichts auszuführen.
And last but not least, I should like to draw the court's attention to the last pictures describing the burying of corpses, and I believe that this is also some sort of a photographed reportage. The corpses there are being shown how they are buried in a pit. I have the impression that the man who took those pictures was less concerned about the factual description and more interested in the sensational effect of it. And I should like to ask the court to examine the matter very thoroughly. Otherwise, I have no other objections. And now with regard to the number which was submitted by the council, I believe that this is of no importance because we are not trying to prove the numbers on the basis of the pictures. With regard to the burning pyre, we do not know whether they saw it when it was still ablaze, and whether it was not rekindled afterwards in order to show what it was before. Maybe it was reconstituted. But at any rate, this pyre was found. Where was this pyre found? Asked the presiding judge. In Auschwitz. So far as the burying of corpses is concerned, on this a certain corroborative material had been brought, and we are going to submit it to the court. And in our opinion, this is a material which incriminates the accused. This is a matter of skeletons in Strasbourg, and we are going to submit material which shows the connection of the accused and the pictures which were in Nuremberg at that time. And the pictures which we're going to see here are simply aimed at substantiating the material which we are going to submit. If we shall not succeed in submitting the corroborative material, then the court may ignore that particular scene. With regard to Bergen-Belsen picture, the explanation is as follows. The attempts to bury the corpses in a way that the German population should do it. It was difficult to bury the corpses at the required rate. There were heaps of those corpses, and in the meantime a typhoid epidemic broke out. In order to obviate the spreading of the epidemic, the victorious powers introduced bulldozers so as to clear the area, and also this way graves were opened and certain bodies disappeared. I do not say that the accused or people who were submitted to his authority did it themselves. This picture is taken after the liberation of Bergen-Belsen, but this is what it looks like. And I must point out here that the epidemic of typhus broke out, and it was necessary to bury the corpses as rapidly as possible in order to obviate the spreading of the epidemic. And now we can start with the projection, says the presiding judge. Now the first picture will show the activities of the Einsatzgruppen, the killings carried out by the Einsatzgruppen, the operational troops.